No good. 1 second. Car alarm? What does this mean? No car so far. I may be too sleepy to have noticed it, but I don't think there were any. You might be unfortunate enough to hear my neighbors, though. I need consistency, and also I already had my breakfast. I would not go to sleep anyway. I'm just sleepy because I'm sleepy. Because this is what happens all the time. So, by the way, I have already watched the video we are going to watch. Anyway, a good one. So, are you ready? Does anyone want to say or ask something beforehand?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
My name is Rami, and I have a question.
Yes, Rem, please talk.
I was just curious, but what are your thoughts on Dr. Anna and her how can I say it? She seems to be a big believer in astrology.
What?
I mean, she even like wrote a book on it. I'm not sure, but she kind of does delve into astrology. I mean, at least in, I mean, I don't know if there are more personal videos, but if you want to look into it, but yeah.
I do not find it believable, if I'm being honest. If you can show a proof, I'd love to see it.
I mean, I would have to look back into like her old videos back when she was doing her doctorate, but yeah, okay.
I mean, people change their beliefs if this is what was
I
happening.
mean, I mean, I'm not. It's not taking away from her, what she probably has to say about like in the video, but it's just I wanted to know what you would think about that.
I mean, I don't believe in astrology, and I don't, you know, how to say it. I have skepticism about people who do believe it, I'd say.
Okay, yeah.
But I try to let people live without me sticking my head up their ass and saying they are doing something wrong. Anyway,
Okay.
let's start watching.
Clavicular is a 20-year-old looks maxer, which is a term from online incel communities to refer to trying to improve your attractiveness so that you can have a higher SMV, sexual market value. I figured, let me see what the fuss is all about. So I watched his Channel 5 interview, and I kind of get it. Clavicular is a man of contrasts. He talks like an incel, but he's conventionally attractive and gets plenty of women. He hangs out with some of the worst men in the manosphere, yet he himself says he's apolitical. He lacks social prowess, yet he's made an entire career off of connecting with his fans. But how did this man of contrast go from talking about looks maxing to storming off his Channel 5 interview?
If you want to be completely disingenuous, that's fine with me. I guess there's just no point to continue.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I was curious to watch because I had a feeling it would reveal something very interesting about Clavicular. And once I figured it out, it was honestly fascinating. I'd like for this discussion to be sort of a broader conversation about the way that looks maxing appeals to and exploits people with neurodivergence. Obviously, I don't know Clavicular. I don't know if he has a diagnosis or doesn't. From what I understand, he suggested he's on the autism spectrum, but he's not formally diagnosed. However, hearing him talk about looks maxing did get me reflecting on the ways that looks maxing communities can exploit people with various forms of neurodivergence.
Hi guys, Anna from the future here. I originally filmed this video weeks ago, but a lot has happened since then, so I just wanted to hop on and give an update. Please excuse my not so ideal setup. I'm currently on vacation, so I don't have access to like my microphone and everything. So a few days before this video was scheduled to go live, Clavicular experienced a medical emergency after taking a substance on stream, and he was rushed to the hospital. He also seems to have gone right back to the club shortly after this incident, and he released a statement saying, "Just got home, that was brutal. All of the substances are just to cope, trying to feel neurotypical while being in public, but obviously that isn't a real solution. The worst part of tonight was my face descending from the life support mask." I think this goes to show that a lot of the stuff we're talking about today can quickly turn serious. So it just kind of adds a heavier note on everything that I'm about to talk about in this video. Anyway, I just wanted to give that update, and I wish Clavicular a speedy recovery, but let's get back to the video.
This is going to be kind of a long one, so get cozy and let's get started. The first thing I learned about Clavicular in this interview was that he values attractiveness above all else. Like when he says that looks are arguably one of the most important things in life.
I am Clavicular. I do live streaming. I hop on a variety of podcasts to talk about sort of my philosophy on why looks are arguably one of the most important things in terms of your success in life.
Now, Andrew asks a lot of questions about looks maxing, about bone smashing,
The first thing that caught my eye was the bone smashing.
about how Clavicular stays lean.
And what are some of the easiest ways to do that besides just creating a caloric deficit?
Here's another example.
So if I'm 202 right now and I want to be 185, what's the fastest way to get there in 30 days?
Whether Clavicular is concerned about the health consequences of all these different things he's doing.
Are you concerned about any adverse health effects?
But every time Andrew veers even slightly off the topic of looks maxing, Clavicular's answer is a flat, "I don't know how that's relevant." Like, listen to his response when Andrew asks him about the loneliness epidemic.
I think people are scared to make friends now too. Screen time's at an all-time high. People aren't really going out. Community's kind of in collapse. Less people have real friends.
I don't know the relevance of that.
What do you mean?
What's the relevance of that? It's like
What's kind of what you were just talking about?
not at all.
Wanting to ascend and finding your place in the world, SMV.
I was just
Engaging
talking
with
about
the world.
pharmacology.
Oh yeah, but I'm kind of getting into your goal is to help people ascend, right?
Andrew asks about the value of engaging with people in real life, and Clavicular's response is honestly quite sad. Because according to Clavicular, if you don't dedicate your entire life to looks maxing, your priorities are warped.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what's the value there? I mean,
And engaging with people in real life.
yeah, I mean, there's really not that many people that are worth interacting with, I would say.
What do you mean?
Like, most people are extremely jester,
Like they're funny or like they're just like,
just have completely misprioritized lives. I would say the average person that you meet who's like an enjoyer of sports, who drinks beer, for example, you know, let's go have a beer at the pub and watch Sunday football. Like, that's the worst thing that you could do. Like, you should be on PubMed reading various different studies on how you could looks max.
you don't think there's any value in like social interactions with people?
I wouldn't say people in general. I'd say that there's certain people that you could certainly learn from, but the average person that you encounter is literally like ladaring, watching like a baseball game.
He gives the example of someone going out for a beer to watch sports with a friend and how that is somebody with their priorities not on straight. When I was listening to his take about how it's dumb to have, a glass of alcohol when you're out with friends, how the purpose of alcohol is essentially leverage in order to get you to talk to more girls, this made me think about something I've often reflected about OCD. And what I have often felt is the saddest part about having an obsessive compulsive mind is how it robs you of your ability to experience joy. Because everything is about optimization, everything is about extrinsic rewards or about attaining certain numbers. And when your mind is just so preoccupied with these tangible, concrete, extrinsic rewards, you can't really just live in the present and enjoy the present moment. It's kind of like the difference between just having a drink for fun or for joy or to connect with a friend versus having a drink with the ulterior motive of being more disinhibited so that you can get laid. It's sad because it robs you of the ability to play, which the definition of play is to just do something without any sort of reason. It's not playing the piano, for example, because you want to do better at a recital or you want for your mom to not yell at you. You're playing the piano simply because you are loving the way that the music is sounding and you love this feeling of flow when you're doing it.
People will just drink alcohol for no reason at all. It seems like, let's go have a drink, when if you were actually smart, you would realize the purpose of alcohol is to lower your inhibitions to talk to girls. So that's the only time in which it makes sense to leverage such a toxic drug like ethanol.
For clavicular, even sex is not supposed to be fun.
Don't you think you maybe want a more experienced partner so that that person has better understanding of human intimacy?
No, because that's not what sex is intended for, right? It's enjoyable to have sex with women, but that's not the intention behind it, and that was never meant to be. This is a very new thing in the context of history. People just have regular sex with random people for pure pleasure and then never talk to them again.
Which, technically it is for the furtherment of the species, but it's evolutionarily created to be a fun experience for people because evolution wants us to pass along our genes. I'm just kind of aghast thinking about how much joy and play and fun must be missing from someone's life to literally think that sex only exists for a secondary purpose. Clavicular then says that most people are not worth wanting a connection with. For example, he says there's no point in going on a date with a girl if you're not going to stream it.
Talking about his treatment of sex, let's say. So he talks about how sex is not for enjoyment, but implied here for God, what's the word in English? Furthering of the species, let's say, having descendants. How does it reproduction? Yeah, you're right. How does it work together with the way he interacts with sex? He is not having sex for fun, but he is also not having sex to have children. So even in his view, there's no interpretation of having sex that would fit the way he does it. He's doing it for clout, just to say that he bangs bodies for views. That's right. In his mind, I think it's quite obvious that it is all about social approval. Yeah, hi Sala. And social status. Everything he does is to improve his social status, and even interactions with women that he seems to put on top of the pyramid. They are still there for his social status. not his enjoyment, because he does not enjoy interacting with women. He is visibly uncomfortable doing it. So the thing about improving social status, I think, is it's basically running a routine for the sake of upholding a mask. Yeah. So let's say he has this social status. He has himself on top of the chain he imagines. So what? What comes out of it? Just holding into this ring of power for the sake of holding it? No other achievement? No pleasure at all, because pleasure is secondary to his existence. Anyway, sad case. I've said it many times, I don't think that as it is he is capable of being happy at all, unless he changes his mind, his thinking. He won't be happy.
Pushes back on this a bit, and Clavicular asks, what's the ROI on that?
And that sort of is what something I experience is like it's a mega waste of time.
Just talking to girls, going out on dates and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I do content, so it's like, it's one thing where, but like, I was talking about this on my stream the other day. Say you were to do like a bowling date with a girl and you weren't streaming it, like, that's just the most ridiculous.
What about like connecting with her because like you like her or something like that? You know, like maybe you want to start a family.
But where's the ROI in that?
What's that?
Like, where's the ROI?
Sorry, what's ROI?
Return on investment.
Which reveals this very transactional, dehumanizing view of people that's very common in spheres like the manosphere. People exist only as tools to get something you want, not as people whose closeness brings you some sort of spiritual warmth or who have value simply because they are living beings. Someone in a comment recently said that this manosphere's take is almost like people are human doings rather than human beings, and that really stuck with me. These incel communities don't even pretend not to dehumanize people. They literally have hierarchies in which they rate people in terms of how valuable versus subhuman they are.
On these three sites, a shared ranking scale was developed called the PSL scale, which ranks men from Terachad and Gigachad all the way down to subhuman.
Now, something else that I realized about the way Clavicular talks about the looks maxing community is that it seems like he still feels like an incel deep down. He talks about how he's not really that far out from being an incel right now.
I'm still not that far out of it, right? So I was that guy not too long ago, so I still can put.
He is playing a role that he feels he has to uphold at all costs and lived up to expectations. Yes, I wanted to, find a post to read it and to add that at this point, upholding this role is the point of his existence and the cornerstone of his worldview. So if he changes his mind, like changing his mind and starting to view it differently will make it seem like all the years before it, all the sacrifices he made, including his wealth, his health, his happiness, his, let's say, authenticity, because he doesn't have one anymore, doesn't have that much of it after, at least, then this all would be for nothing. Again, sunken costs. He did so much for it, and it was for nothing. This can be, he has to double down. Absolutely normal guy before, by the way. Yeah. I mean, as I said,
out of it, right? So I was that guy.
to be honest, I'm not sure if the pic on the right is real. It looks creepy. Anyway, yeah, just a normal guy like many other normal guys that think they look terrible, like genuinely. I've seen at least 2 incels who genuinely believe they look disgusting and they look normal. Like the one that I've told you about, who thought he was repulsive, that, I don't know, looking at him will make your eyes bleed. He showed me his photo. He is actually pretty, just chubby. Like, he has beautiful face features. He thinks he's repulsive and disgusting. So, I don't want to undervalue the importance of looks that incels plays that a lot of incels think undermine their happiness. I agree that, I can't just say, oh, none of you are ugly. I mean, some sure have to be ugly. And even if every single one was ugly, this is a problem that we have to deal with without having to deal with with the way people look. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that, whether the person is actually ugly or not, there are other problems. I am sleepy, okay? I went on an unrelated tangent and I tricked myself into thinking this was what I wanted to say. Yeah, I am still on my coffee beginning. Oh. No, I wasn't trying to yawn. I'm not yawning. So, compared to him, I am disgusting. I don't care for his body, but if I had a face like that, I wouldn't hate myself. No promises. You cannot say. Our views of ourselves are honestly, skewed. I've talked about it. I mod an appearance-related sub, and there are a lot of beautiful people posting there, honestly. And the thing is that many people, especially guys, come see pictures of beautiful women posting there and saying these women are not confident in themselves. They don't think they're beautiful. These guys get genuinely upset, start insulting them, disrespecting them, being extremely rude and cruel to them, because they think these women cannot genuinely believe they are not good looking, and these men think that the women are just trying to fish out some compliment, because in their heads there is no way a woman is who looks like this doesn't know she's beautiful. In the meantime, they are adding up to the reasons why these women don't feel beautiful. They get negative feedback on their looks, and they are constantly being told that they don't look good. And even if you look at the comments, whether it is people frustrated with beautiful women saying they aren't confident, or these are people genuinely meaning this, they will also say like, no, you don't look good. Like 3 out of 10. 1 second, I need to open the window in my apartment. It's stuffy. Anyway, yes, we get to hear your neighbors shouting in cars passing by. You will hear my neighbors shouting either way. Also, cars don't pass by here often. My windows face, inside, not on the road. So, anyway, people's perception of themselves are skewed, and unless you judge the feedback you cannot tell for sure how you look according to people, according to the most. Like, I know a lot of people like my voice. A lot of people dislike their own voices when they hear it. I do not have any feelings and opinion on my voice, but I do know that I get the feedback, the positive feedback, that there are certain qualities that people mention, highlight. So I have this association. This is what people say about this part of me. This means that probably most people perceive it this way, and I can be fine saying it. Nonetheless, there are still people who want to say that they don't like listening to me, that my voice isn't pleasant to them. And this happens especially if I myself say that people like my voice. Do people IRL ask you to speak louder? I don't think so. I speak in different volume settings. Am I being quiet? Maybe I should just need a better microphone. Donate to my crypto or card, because I can't exchange crypto for normal currency because I don't reach the limit. Like, I need 10 times as much Ethereum as I have to exchange it for rubles. So, what we were talking about? People will shit on you no matter what, especially if you're confident. But if you're unconfident and they think you shouldn't be, they will also shit on you. And your personal relationships with your looks and your self-esteem are not representative of what most people will think about how you look. Let's get going.
Not too long ago, so I still can put myself in their shoes and empathize with having a bad job, like working in a restaurant, being unattractive, not being able to get girls. It's not like I'm, 40 years old with a long and successful media career. I just started doing this.
And you could argue that inceldom is more of a mindset rather than what actual sexual behaviors you take part in. My husband had a really good point when we were watching this interview. He said that Clavicular has only done the outer work into sort of attracting partners, but none of the inner work. So of course he's going to feel like an incel deep down because he's not learning how to overcome social issues without leaning on substances as a crutch. Or I don't get the sense that he's gone to therapy and like deconstructed the way he completely devalues connection. And so my husband was saying it's very much going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy for him because he's only going to attract women who care about appearance, and that will then confirm his belief that women only care about appearance. But the thing that was really frustrating during the interview, I think not only for me but also for the interviewer, was Clavicular's inability to get deeper about why looks maxing is so important to him. Why does he think it's like the thing that you should aspire to? Because you're saying it's not really about the money, it's not really about getting laid. So then what is it actually about exactly? Andrew was trying to get him to explain it, but Clavicular seemed kind of incapable of putting it into words.
I'm just confused because it's like, on one hand, you're saying you want to like help men improve their aesthetics and succeed in life so that they don't feel so lonely and they're not so hateful and they can go out and succeed. Then you also say that like going out and dating and stuff's a waste of time and that you should prioritize looks maxing and aesthetic improvement. So I'm just trying to figure out like what the real goal is for improvement because it kind of feels like a closed circle,
So this is the part of the video where I'm going to talk about how looks maxing can appeal to people with various forms of neurodivergence. I'm not necessarily saying Clavicular is neurodivergent. I don't know him. For all I know, this could be an online persona he puts on. But let's start with OCD, because I think the concept of looks maxing can really appeal to people with OCD obsessions, like body dysmorphia, illness anxiety, orthorexia. All of these are essentially about optimization.
Before we start, I want to remind you that in the article from the German reporter that we contributed to, Louis said that he was looks maxing and that he needed maths, logic, facts. He needed certainty. Like, inner work cannot be measured, so you cannot, be certain on whether you do or don't meet certain criteria. If you want control and if you want certainty, human experience will have to be simplified for you. I can understand that. I need facts and certainty myself. Yeah, so there should be a balance, of course. And there should be understanding why certain things appeal to you. Again, with looks maxing, it is something that can be measured, looked at, something that can be objective, not in the way that beauty is objective, it is not, but in the way that if you set a certain region's standard, as looks maxing does, you can measure how much you feel it. You might notice it when people who would be like 9 on the looks maxing scale start asking how to ascend even further. Because at this point, all you can improve and optimize would be only for tastes of certain people. Like, for example, I like certain mole placements. I like how moles look on your fingers, on the chest area, and on, eyeballs. If he wanted to optimize for me, he could do that. Draw, use an eye pencil, draw more on your fingers. But this will only be relevant to me. There is nothing objective. When you are 9, you're already upper chat tier. But if you men are IRL gigachads and terachads, is still hypothetical. Again, the standard, I say 9. When I say 9, I think these people are very representative of what is considered attractive, ideal in looks maxing. It's like it's not the same as say what I find attractive. So again, these are people who kind of optimize themselves to its peak according to what is outlined by the looks maxing perception. But when they say reach this peak, there are still uncertainties that cannot be solved. Like some people will find moles on your face very attractive, and some people will hate it. Some people will find facial hair attractive. My best friend likes facial hair. I hate facial hair. So if you want to optimize your look, if you say look the way we both like, so you think whether you should grow or shave your facial hair. From here on, it is not, for everyone anymore. Now you need to shrink your target audience to make more specific choices. Like, there's only so far that looks maxing can outline ideal looks. You will, if you dedicate yourself to it, you will inevitably hit a wall, and you will still be unhappy with your life and with yourself, because you will be always looking for a way to optimize your existence as a human being. He's always been average or above. He gave himself such a sob story. Yeah, again, this is representative of how he is unable to perceive himself adequately. He was attractive by the standards, beauty standards, that we have. There are also very inadequate expectations of how women should react to someone they find attractive. Like, I've been recently Manishin referred a guy to me who is 18 or 19 years old, and he's told me he's never had a girlfriend, and that like they only try to get his number or stuff, but he's never had a girlfriend. So is he ugly? What is wrong with him? He must be extremely attractive to people if this is the kind of pool he has, but he does not or did not understand it, because he doesn't understand how rarely women act on their attraction. I've tried to tell him that, just not so outwardly. I just said, you must look extremely attractive to poo so well. But yeah, inadequate self-perception and the idea of how women act, like especially when you paint it like women see an attractive man and they immediately fall to their knees ready to gobble his cock, then an attractive person getting a lot of attention from women will not register as much, because you think this is not how women behave around someone who is attractive. In the meantime, I noticed that a lot of people in the incel communities don't understand that being attractive to someone is not doesn't mean we will act out based on it. Like I've seen men, guys, and of course women who are extremely attractive and to me, and I would not even consider pursuing it because the circumstances aren't right, for example, or because I am just not interested in relationships currently. So even if I'm drawn to a person, why would I entertain the thought of trying to get them? Another case, like when after my stay at the psych ward, I had this psychiatrist who helped me a lot, who basically set the medication plan that I needed to take, that ultimately helped me so much. So at some point, like I was visiting him relatively often. At some point I realized I have a huge crush on it, and I even considered, like I was looking at his ring finger, trying to see if he's taken, but I understood that it was inadequate of me, unreasonable. So I was like, well, I need to suppress it, obviously. The reason for that is because my journey to, deal with my depression is way more important than my crush on someone. I just prioritized a different thing. To be honest, I worry about the boys in my niece's class. I don't know if they're memeing, but they are only 12, 13 years old and already talk about moving. Only one boy in the entire class has a girlfriend, and his girlfriend is my niece's bestie. Why are people 12, 13-year-old children dating? We should stop normalizing romance with kids so young. It's like pointless at this point anyway. It's the same as playing house in kindergarten. That plays into what I was getting at with Glove's age. I'd argue 20 is more on the younger side of things as far as experiences on or lack thereof is concerned with the currently with the current and incoming generations. The average is only going to keep climbing higher and higher. Yeah. What I would give to be that guy. Oh, heist. Yeah, I mean, college back then used to be matchmaking for marriage. Now it's just about when a lot of guys start getting their feet wet with dating, if their parents were restrictive back home, or they only just felt the need to finesse their social and soft-maxing skills. And that's only if they decide that dating is worth it. But with short attention spans and rapidity of so much younger Gen Z, probably not. Off topic, but in the psych ward, do they make you clean the wards and hospital grounds, or did you have to do favors for the nurses to get better treatment? So it varies from hospital to hospital. Like my friend acquaintance, I think was in I was in Moscow in the psych ward. She was somewhere in a small city. So they would clean the places, and they would be one-on-one with nurses, and one of the nurses tried to sexually harass her. Maybe some people did, do something for nurses for favors. I am confrontational. I'm not, glazing anyone or being facetious. So this would not even reach my area. I am unlikely to even learn about it. It's ironic and contradictory how when I was a little kid, girls were both my worst bullies, but I also related better to girls, as in it was easier to be their friend. I had no friends when I was younger, as I couldn't relate to either sex. After watching the Backrooms movie today, it honestly resonated with me on a deeper level than most people. The liminality of it, like a world you never left, not truly. Honestly, the critics are just pity as fuck. The movie was great. Okay. About the harassment in the wards, not necessarily sexual, but I read about patients going so far as to massage nurses' feet for better food. Everyone gets the same food. I'm not sure what you're talking about. That's kind of how this place is act. For me, I was pretty social in elementary, middle school, but high school it totally flipped. Everyone hitting their growth spurts, more competition, etc. Kane's version of backrooms has no levels, that just fun on bullshit added on. And that's what I love about his series so much. Yeah, it looks cool, but to watch it later. Okay, you have moved from the topic. I have yet to watch Backrooms. I want to, but this is not what I want to talk about. But I will, yeah. It wasn't a question. Russian localizations are terrible, especially with new, like, it was never great in terms of how things are localized to begin with, but after recent years and new censoring, a lot of pieces that just get taken out. You know, in the Fight Club, they removed the scene where the characters go to rest and cry on the chest of this guy with mastectomy, with digits, who has excess fat in his chest area. I heard in China they added the engine when they say the main character to a psych ward for treatment and everyone is happy ever after. I want to learn how to hack from Russians to escape our eminent internet censorship. Age verification laws my ass. Sorry FBI, but you will not find out that I'm actually a 12-year-old little girl. Rami's niece is in the chat with us. You know what? Give me 2 minutes. I will make myself more coffee. I talked about it already, but looking at all this fuss about the hairline is so weird, considering that for me, like, men with hairline that receded down to the back of their head is so normal. Like, I see it all the time. It's my father throughout my whole life. It's my uncle. It's anyone I see outside. So, something I want to say. I need a haircut, but I'm getting anxiety about going to my barber because I know that she will ask me if I got a job yet, and I don't want to explain to her that I'm currently need maximum for my mental health and anxiety. Let's figure out how to say it. In a way that will not make you feel anxious. You decided to get additional education. You prepared yourself financially for it, and now what you're doing is according to your plan. Like, I want to take a break because I feel burned out. So I'm taking a break. I got additional education that will be in line with what I plan to get work in. But for now I'm having vacations, unpaid vacations basically. She's a nice Iranian lady, but yeah, I don't think she would understand. You don't think she would understand having, taking a break from working? Like, this could be, I can see it. But, it doesn't have to, you don't really need to make sure she understands. Barbers, hairstylists talk to people, of course, because they are interested. They are usually social people, but like, this is a part of what they do to make clients comfortable. She wants to talk to people, but she also does it to make people comfortable. I wish more barbers and stylists were more quiet and ASMR like in the videos. Same. I just say, hey, can I put in one of my earbuds while you're cutting a different side of my hair, an opposite side? And then I don't have to be pulled into a conversation. I wish more. Bro, I don't even know what this conversation is about. Good question. We went, way off track. So, shall we continue watching and go back on track?
everything seems to be something maxing for clavicular. It's all optimization, you know? Sometimes people become obsessed with numbers, but they're not in touch with what the numbers actually mean to them. So from the perspective of like, you know, let's say somebody with OCD that takes more of a body dysmorphia approach, maybe also has an eating disorder, they might be thinking, I'm no longer going to feel this anxiety or shame or guilt or worthlessness once I reach this number, this goal weight. And once they reach their goal weight, they absolutely still do experience those painful emotions, because reaching that certain number is not going to protect them from the underlying emotion that they're trying to run away from. And then even if the eating disorder is then resolved, if the underlying root isn't resolved, the symptoms are just going to jump to something else. It's kind of like playing whack-a-mole. You know, if you only address a symptom, it pops up somewhere else unless you really pull it out from the root. So then maybe, you know, you're not so focused on body dysmorphia anymore, but you know, migrate to illness anxiety. Sometimes though, this like optimization, this hyperfixation on numbers can also be about a person trying to distract themselves from something else in their life. Like somebody who's, let's say, in denial about their sexuality might compulsively optimize their body and become sort of obsessed with their appearance as a way to distract from these powerful sexual urges that they think are unacceptable. Because as we know, the best way to get over something is to find something else to obsess over. It's why people get over a relationship faster, for example, when they suddenly form a crush on someone else. But even in that example, doing so is not a really good idea, because the underlying issues from that breakup or from the relationship, that unprocessed grief, it's going to come back even harder if you just try to sort of patch it over with a new obsession. Avoidance is kind of always pretty much guaranteed to backfire. It's like pushing a beach ball underwater. It just pops back even harder. Obsessions and compulsions can also become kind of addictive. At first, you feel bad, so you set out to change that, let's say by becoming a Giga Chad, and you put in this like ritualized, compulsive, rigid work to achieve the body you want. And once you achieve something about looks that you want, you get this like rush of dopamine. And as soon as it wears off, you're left craving more. You're kind of left with this come down. And so you find something else about your body that you're not happy with. So you give in to your compulsions again, which further strengthens the obsessive compulsive loop. Let me give you another example. Let's say you feel gross or like not right because the floor isn't completely clean. So you mop it, you get a hit of dopamine. The second another speck shows up on the floor, you feel even more intense anxiety unless you alleviate that distress with a compulsion of, again, cleaning it, and the obsessions and compulsions just get stronger every time that you give into it. That is why I think looks maxing can appeal to someone with obsessive compulsive ways of thinking. Looks maxing can also appeal to people with autistic hyperfixations, because hyperfixating on something to the point where it takes up hours of your time isn't just a component of OCD, it's also something that can happen with autism spectrum disorder. This is because autistic people can sustain focus for an extended period of time because they tend to prefer predictable, ritualized routines and rule systems, and because they sometimes struggle with task switching. That's why, for example, transitions tend to be really difficult for them. Looks maxing plays right into that. It's concrete, tangible, measurable, it's socially incentivized. I mean, clavicular literally makes bank off of monetizing what appears to be a hyperfixation. But there are a lot of topics that somebody could hyperfixate on. Trains, maps, Japan. So why would someone hyperfixate on looks maxing in particular? If somebody feels socially inept in some way, they're more likely to turn to online forms of community and connection, which means they are more prone to falling down pipelines like the incel pipeline. Also, for autistic people, social life can sometimes feel confusing, unpredictable, and full of unspoken rules, like needing to make small talk, the expectation of reciprocity in conversation, other people's desire to be validated when they're talking, the idea of like gradually increasing intimacy. All of these things that are kind of like social norms in society for autistic people can be kind of confusing, but looks maxing provides a very concrete how-to manual for excelling socially. If you get these specific facial proportions and this specific body fat percentage, then you'll be a desirable person to other people. It's like a rule book for how to get along with others. But you know, no matter how much Clavicular likes to pretend he doesn't care about connecting with other human beings, that other people are mainly just jesters, he admits that his looks maxing journey was born of him wanting connection.
Obviously, people are going to be more drawn to you if you're good looking, and I would say that, you know, growing up, especially during puberty, early into high school, I really wasn't, so it is what it is.
We are genetically programmed to value attachment to others from birth. This is because evolutionarily speaking, the babies that were more likely to demand that their moms be near them were the ones that ended up surviving. And so as a species, we really evolved to be highly attachment focused. So if somebody acts like they don't need other people or they don't care about connection, it's typically because they were at some point made to feel rejected. So they started to devalue that which they assumed they could not have. It's the same concept as like an avoidant attachment style, where likely sometime in childhood, a person was made to feel like their primary attachment figures weren't reliable for them. So they said, you know what, you can't fire me, I quit, I actually don't need connection in the first place. Now there's kind of like a debate about whether this counts as a form of neurodivergence, but I think that looks maxing would also appeal to people who are narcissistic, because in narcissism, there's kind of this fantasy of one day having this ideal self that's meant to overcompensate for what's unconsciously feelings of inferiority and worthlessness and self-disgust. Usually this comes up because sometime during development, these kids were made to feel inadequate about something. Maybe they were bullied in school, maybe they were too shy to talk to their crushes, or maybe they were excessively criticized or belittled or shamed by their caregivers. So they formed this like hard outer shell that's like very grandiose and arrogant and entitled to protect them from that feeling of smallness. Narcissist worldview is also extremely dehumanizing, where people's value boils down to extremely concrete, socially desired aspects like their financial success, their height, what university they attended, how impressive your CV is, your GPA. For them, people's worth is not judged in terms of connection, but rather a very numerical, sort of economical way of viewing things. What's the ROI this person brings to me? What's my SMV? What do I have to gain from this? Is this person part of a select elite that makes me feel like I'm superior from other people in order to distract from my deep unconscious shame? I've been watching a lot of interviews recently on this channel called Borderliner Notes of people diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and a common theme that keeps coming up for them is how they built this facade, usually around adolescence, to defend against these feelings of worthlessness and self-disgust that others have made them internalize.
If you want to understand what NPD is at its core, it's just like one day you decide after growing up so fucking like with your past self being so fucking worthless, ugly, cringy, no one wanted them, they had to sit there and watch other people laugh and have fun and date. You're just like, you know what, fuck this, I don't want to be this person anymore, I'm gonna totally be somebody else, it's over. Like, you know, there was a moment where I just decided like, I'm done, you know, I'm just gonna be somebody else now. And I worked really hard at that. And I worked really hard to cover all of that shit up. And I thought to myself, if I become perfect, if I become somebody else completely, I will never have to worry again about feeling shame.
I mean, for a long time, it was like, I was pathetic. I was like, I was awkward and emotional and disgusting. And so like, it kind of became second nature to start berating myself for those flaws so I could change myself, right? To start like being a person that like was worth something.
It's interesting that it's disgust in particular for the self that a lot of them cite feeling, because disgust is often an emotion that drives people with OCD to complete their compulsions. People think that OCD is just about anxiety. It's not always just about anxiety.
These are people who are what am I talking? People with narcissistic personality disorder.
A lot of times it's about disgust. Like, of course, someone with decontamination themes that needs to like wash their hands a certain amount of times before they can finally feel clean. But it's not just that. Even things like body dysmorphia ultimately boil down to disgust more than anxiety. And so I think that this is really interesting that like looks maxing seems to target people with various forms of neurodivergence that feel this like deep disgust for themselves, that feel subhuman in some way. Now let's address the confrontation that made Clavicular walk-off set. Towards the end of the interview, Andrew starts asking him about the Hitler outing that got him banned from Miami clubs, and Clavicular gets upset about that, and it's not quite clear to me, is he more upset about the fact that he was asked about this thing in particular, or the fact that they're again veering away from the topic of looks maxing?
So, while on stream, a while ago now, Clav went to a nightclub in Miami with some other guys. While they were out, both in the Sprinter van and inside the club, somebody played Kanye's famous Hitler song. You know the one. The incident led to widespread media attention, condemnation by political leadership, a blame game amongst participants, and earned Clav a lifelong ban from all major Miami clubs.
How did I feel about it?
Yeah, the aftermath, like the
Well, I
magnitude
mean,
of
it sucks not being able to go to like some of the mod clubs. I mean, I just started college club maxing. In a lot of ways, that was like actually better because it's more affordable actually. So like.
Room. Anyway, I wanted to also point out, notice how even in an interview he cannot stop using this slang. Her editor censored her saying, I think she does her own videos. She censored hi, not the word Hitler. So like it's the combination of two. College club max, yeah. So what I was talking about is that we here understand how this is not how you talk to normal people. This is like you have inner group, and with this inner group you have your shared language that like using which you signify your belonging. When you go out, you understand that your shared language is yours for this group, but not for everyone. Like these are views and outlooks of a certain group. They are not the norm, they are not shared by majority, therefore using the language that signifies belonging to this worldview kind of not appropriate, you know. Here he doesn't understand that what he says, what he does is not the norm because of how much, for how long he has been boiling in this pot. Like he thinks the way he talks is the norm, so he doesn't stop himself from saying it. He lost grip on reality, basically. Does he actually attend college? Or does he just hang out at colleges? He just hangs out. He used to go to college for a little and then he got kicked out, as far as I know. Like, I don't know, didn't go too full into it. He's a full-time content creator. Full-time is a great word here because he would say he streams for like more than a full day, doesn't even sleep like full time that we have in a day. And this was terrible, I'm sorry. In English there is no word that specifically means 24 hours and you have to say 24 hours a day. He streams 24 hours a day sometimes. Let's keep going.
You know, a lot of people like sort of like to talk about that in interviews, and it's like, dude, what's the relevance? Like, how is that even correlated with looks maxing?
For people with hyperfixations, there's sometimes this like bottomless desire to talk about their interests and not a lot of awareness that maybe the other person might be not that interested in the topic, or maybe might want to also talk about other things. And also the lack of social skills and like cognitive empathy that's often present there can make this a blind spot where they literally don't even recognize it. They're just just maybe trying to connect with the other person or getting excited over their interests, and they don't realize how unenjoyable it is for the other person. But I will say it is a bit unusual for even neurodivergent people to actually get angry for someone trying to change the subject. So I wonder if something else might be going on here, some sort of defensiveness about the topic that Andrew switched to, or some other psychological phenomenon that causes him to actually get upset if people aren't going along with his script. Then Andrew asks Clavicular about his security, and Clavicular immediately shuts it down.
From a security standpoint, how do you stop stream snipers from ruining your...
I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay. Just because you don't want people to know what your protocol is?
Correct.
Word.
I do kind of understand this is like a little bit of a weird question. It's possible at this point that like Andrew was experiencing something called projective identification, which is when somebody makes you feel the way that they feel. So if Clavicular was feeling socially awkward, it's possible that through his behavior, he was sort of unconsciously making Andrew also start to behave a little bit socially awkward. Andrew then starts just like kind of talking out loud saying like, I'm not really sure what to ask you about then, because Clavicular has made it clear that he only wants to talk about looks maxing.
Trying to think what else I should ask about. It's tough because I don't want to put you in any boxes, but I'm sure there's people that probably want to know about various controversies. If you don't want to talk about it, that's cool.
I mean, more so like to talk about like looks maxing in my interviews.
Clavicular expresses that he's frustrated because no one has ever asked him about looks maxing, at which point I was like, wait, what? They talked about this so many times. Like, Andrew had so many questions about looks maxing. It was basically the entire interview. And then Clavicular kind of confronts Andrew on clip farming and sort of like gotcha questions.
And it's like kind of annoying because no interviewer has actually like come up with a question ever that's been more than what would be the number one piece of advice you would recommend people to looks max. I've genuinely never had a single person ask me specifics about how do these two things interact, or how does looks maxing differ from this age to this age? Is it still possible to looks max? Like, there's no effort really behind the questions that...
If I was asked to do an interview, I too would like to stick to the interview topics. He doesn't understand that the topics, looks maxing is not the topic. He is the topic. The general audience does not care about looks maxing. They are not here to ask his enlightened opinions about what to do, how to do it. They are not here to, do paragraph, what would that be in English, to make him promote his courses. Okay? He thinks it's about looks maxing. He thinks that people want him to share his knowledge. That's why he gets asked so many questions that he thinks are not on point. He just doesn't understand that he is the topic. His actions, his views, looks maxing is viewed as something he represents himself through. So his methodology is irrelevant. Like, what he thinks about looks maxing is just as important as whether or not he's sponsored by Peter Thiel. I'm not sure how to pronounce his short name. Like, he can't even comprehend that people, general people, Thiel, why is there an H then? Is he French? Is he German? Yeah, German, yeah. So yeah, he is disconnected from general public. General public does not have any interest in or much interest in looks maxing advices in the ways of looks maxing.
You guys prepare seemingly. It just seems to be a lot of like gotcha mode, like clip farm shit. And
Well, I'm
it's
not
like,
doing that.
And he thinks it's a gotcha because he thinks people will talk to him about Luxmaxin itself. They don't want to. This is him not understanding what's going on because he is totally disconnected from reality.
Yeah, you are a little bit to a degree.
I don't think so. I think when you see the full presentation, it's not really going to be edited or clipped into my
Well,
face.
just because it's not the worst interview I've had. I mean, like you had like a couple of ones that you were trying to sneak in with like, oh, what is slut hate? It's like,
yeah, I mean, it's the second letter in the.
But I mean, like you know what you're intentionally trying to do.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out because it's a pretty strongly worded forum and subculture.
Yeah, and that would be fine if that question was in there because it's decently relevant to the culture, but there was not even a single genuine attempt at like a specific Luxmax question.
And it was weird to me because like the things he cited as Andrew trying to manipulate him for, in my opinion, were like the least offensive ones. It's almost like he doesn't quite understand when he's being manipulated. So he accuses Andrew of trying to manipulate him by asking about like a term that's one of the more controversial terms of Luxmaxing. But I would argue that when Andrew asked about that, he was actually pretty upfront about thinking that the term was misogynistic. He wasn't like trying to manipulate him down a specific path.
What does the S and PSL stand for?
Sluthate.com.
That's a pretty intense like word, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
You don't think that like veers towards sort of like a anti-woman vibe?
However, in my opinion, Clavicular completely missed the points throughout the interview where, to me, it did seem like Andrew was sort of walking him towards a narrative that would get engagement. Like when Andrew was asking him about his social experiences in school and the role that the pandemic played on his social life. You know, in my mind, I was wondering, is he trying to like shape this narrative that Clavicular was socially awkward and that's why he leaned so much into Luxmaxing?
So going back to like the early days, you were born in 2005, right?
That's right.
How would you describe your like childhood? Was it fun?
Pretty normal, I'd say.
Your social experience in school though, how was that?
I mean, what age range are we talking about?
I guess like right around 13, 14 is what I'm thinking.
Well, that would have been during the pandemic, so I was in online school.
Oh shit. How do you think that being in online school like, you know, transformed your experience during that time?
Well, obviously you're not interacting with anyone. So
Yeah.
You're just like Ladaring.
But I mean, was that the time window that you sort of fell into the Luxmaxing community?
Around that time, actually, yeah.
You notice how obvious it is. Like, he lacks the analytical prowess to comprehend when he's being manipulated. And this isn't like even outright manipulation. This is a narrative that is suggested, like, will you back it up? Will you refute it? Will you disagree? And because he doesn't understand this suggestion, he doesn't catch on it, it doesn't even cross his mind, he cannot support it or refute it consciously. I still can't get over people using Blackpink terms in mainstream media and IRL. What's IRL? What is real life? Sorry, it was supposed to be a joke about how I don't go outside. I know what IRL is. I'm just not good at gesture maxing in the moment. Should have smashed my bones.
What do you think?
Right at the tail end of the pandemic, actually.
What do you think like initially appealed to you about it?
Or when Andrew was asking him about his drug use, it seemed pretty clear to me that he was trying to walk him into talking about meth. And when Clavicular didn't outright say that he's used meth, Andrew was forced to flat out ask about it.
What drugs do you find help you the most?
Pregabalin, stimulants, I'd say.
Yeah, so just drugs that keep you up, basically. Make it easier to talk to people and do your job.
Pregabalin's a little different. It blocks certain neurotransmitters.
My niece's favorite character and her first cosplay is a jester character. Is it from my amazing digital circus? Like, you see how he does not understand any hooks. Cookie Run Kingdom. Oh, okay. Shadow milk cookie.
Emitters that are excitatory, right? So your glutamate, and that causes social anxiety, right? By blocking that neurotransmitter while the drug's half-life is active, now you're like in a low inhibition state for, you know, the 6 to 8 hours.
You don't got to talk about this if you don't want, but have you ever used like methamphetamine?
Yeah, no, I've used methamphetamine.
It also seemed at one point like maybe Andrew was trying to get him to walk into saying that meth isn't so bad, which Clavicular did not do because he apparently doesn't think that.
You think meth kind of gets a bad rap?
No, I don't. I don't at all.
Andrew is a really good interviewer because he's very casual, which kind of disarms people. He's knowledgeable about a lot of complex topics, and he's very personable. I do think it's interesting that Clavicular stormed off an interview with an interviewer who is highly personable, who's typically very good at connecting with people, because he really showcases how much he outwardly rejects connection and charisma. But I think that Andrew's greatest strengths also make him a little bit sneaky when it comes to getting people to show their true colors, and we saw this also with the Shia LaBeouf interview, for example, because he knows what viewers are going to want to know about. He knows what questions they have, the most interesting, spicy topics. He knows what's going to be a really good narrative for the video, and he's very good at like gently pushing people in that direction. But that's the thing, if you're someone who like struggles with cognitive empathy, who can't really like put yourself inside the mind of somebody else and think about what they might be thinking, you're at great risk of being manipulated by others. And a lot of people on the spectrum struggle with this. They struggle to imagine what other people might be thinking and what their motivations might be, whereas narcissism, on the other hand...
So, just to make you sit with this point for a little. He struggles to understand what other people want from him. So he only sees it through his lens, in which looks maxing itself is important.
Has great cognitive empathy typically, but very low affective empathy, which means they like don't really feel for other people, but they know what other people are thinking and feeling. But back to the point. Clavicular claims that Andrew didn't ask him a single looks-maxing question. Andrew points out that they've been talking about it this whole time.
I would say that you've done a pretty shitty job.
All right, well, I think people probably want to learn about you, and that was what I was trying to give you the opportunity to do.
Well, no, I know. I think that's totally fair, and that's I applaud you for that. But not one, question about looks maxing.
There's been so many questions about looks maxing. I probably...
See, he thinks the adequate thing to do is to ask him, like, if I have receding hairline, what do I do? Or how do I make myself look taller? Or would you recommend limb lengthening? Or, how do you deal with gray eyes? This kind of stuff is what he thinks are questions about looks maxing, because he doesn't comprehend that people want to understand the nature of it, the phenomenon. They don't want to play by its rule book.
I asked you about looks maxing like 40 times.
And then things start to get really tense. It's almost like Clavicular wishes Andrew were asking him a personal question about how he should be more attractive. And here's the thing that tips Clavicular into ending the interview. When you watch this next clip, I want you to ask yourself, why might someone be upset about this?
When you wake up...
Wait a second. I want your attention on this so we can watch it together and think why he might be upset about it. Please, the show of hands in the chat. Am I gonna get second-hand embarrassment from this clip? I am not sure. I don't remember. I just think if she's making this point, it's gonna worth it.
Next clip, I want you to ask yourself, why might someone be upset about this?
When you wake up every single morning and you take a look in the mirror, you're 100% satisfied with every single thing. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, dude. All right. Well, I guess that's just, if you want to be completely disingenuous, that's fine with me. I guess there's just no point to continue.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys. No worries. Yeah, no, everything's fine.
And then he straight up ends the interview. So again, I ask you, why might someone who has dedicated their entire life to increasing their attractiveness be upset when they hear somebody else say that they're 100% happy with themselves every day when they look in the mirror? So,
Please, your thoughts. It can be long thoughts. If you have a lot to say, that's welcome. He was upset the interviewer didn't come to him for advice. Okay, why was he upset about it? I have no thoughts. He is who I thought he was. What does it mean? I think he really wanted the interview to be about looks marks in itself. Yeah, but in this particular clip, what made him so emotional? Like in this particular clip, what made him so emotional he decided to end the interview? I don't know about the interviewer's romantic and social life, but if he was satisfied with the validation he was receiving from those people in his life, then I could see why he'd be fully okay with not changing anything about his appearance. However, Kulav projected his dissatisfaction onto the interviewer, and when the interviewer rejected his prompt so bluntly, it put him in a shock where he wanted to discontinue. Based on the facts he was seeing in front of him, Klav couldn't comprehend this satisfaction, so he took it as an interviewer being dishonest. Yeah, totally, 100%. He couldn't insert himself and recognize what the interviewer was saying. It's an unimaginable reality for him. Yeah.
So upset that they immediately end the conversation. Why might they call that disingenuous? My theory is that Clavicular cannot even imagine a universe in which someone does not feel displeased with their body image. It feels so far removed from his experience, and he seems to struggle with the idea that other people might have different experiences from him. But also, if you're someone who's dedicated your entire life to physical attractiveness, and you meet someone who says, nah, I'm actually pretty happy with myself and I don't feel the need to really change the way I look, imagine how much that might sting. Because it reveals that this approach of like looks maxing and optimizing his appearance to a T, it's not the only route he could have taken. It's possible to feel good about yourself without ever changing your appearance. It's possible to invest in yourself not just externally but internally. It's possible that other people have value that is beyond just like useful objects, and that other people are capable of connecting with each other at a deeper level than Clavicular seems to be able to. How could that not hurt? So we learned something about Clavicular as a result of this. When his worldview that beauty is all that matters gets called into question by someone who lives his life differently, it's so painful for him to tolerate that he literally needs to end the conversation. And one last thought that I had about clavicular, I heard that he told a woman, "My culture is not your costume," when she was using looks maxing vernacular, because like in his opinion, you know, these are terms that only men are allowed to use. But honestly, in my opinion, there's nothing more feminine than looks maxing. No matter how much disdain these incel communities have for anything feminine or related to women, you could argue that looks maxing is them doing something that women have been doing since the dawn of time. In every species, there tends to be like one sex which typically like dresses up. Like in peacocks, it's the male. In the human species, it's typically women that do that, who use makeup to accentuate their best features or hide others, who put effort into their hair and nails, who are more strongly shamed for their weight. So when incels act like they invented looks maxing, they fail to realize that they are the ones actually taking part in one of the most quintessentially historically female behaviors. So I would argue actually it's clavicular who is, how did he call it, wearing women's culture as his costume. But anyway, I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think about this interview and clavicular in general. This was fascinating for me to watch, and I hope to do more videos like this. This was fascinating for me to watch, and I hope to do more videos like this in the future. Take care.
Are you talking about?
Okay. Thoughts? About this. You should be on PubMed reading various different studies on how you can look smart. Comedic genius, satire on point. Clavicular strikes me as deeply miserable and depressed, but attempting to change his outer shell to distract people and himself from his own emotional torment. It must be terrifying to him to sit with his feelings. Asking about the ROI for going on a date is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard, and I'm autistic. What does this mean? What does this give mean? My favorite Clove moment is when 3 trans women called him out for copying them, and they told him that trans women are the original looks maxers. Interesting. All I can say is it must be hell being these people. There's something pitiable there. That someone so hedonic that they can't find joy in anything. Exploding squirrel. It's not exploding though. Anyway. I've thought about it. I assume some of you, at least some of them, of you didn't. Oh, Thanos. I see it now. Anyway, at least some of you didn't watch my short video about consuming clavicular and reading Baudrillard. Why do I think that? I forgot. But anyway, is clavicular happy? And more than that, is he capable of being happy? I remembered why I brought it up. It's on whether clavicular confirms black pill or not. I remember someone said clavicular is a black-pilled Chad, and I think it's, a good description probably that many people who identify with black pill will agree with. I want to hear your feedback before I continue speaking. Sorry, these were the sounds of my laptop stand. I don't think so. I don't know if he will ever be happy, to be honest. So, I often talk about how, incels in the wild, that being incel subreddit, how if this, lens doesn't benefit you, change to a different lens, because they think black pill is the truth, like capital letters, the truth. They think I am advising them to lie to themselves, which is my fault. I'm not wording it the best, I just put it how it's in my head and it doesn't interact well with what's in their head. I just wish black pill and Loki's rhetoric never went mainstream. You see, rhetoric. You see, Lookism is one thing, and it should go mainstream, we should discuss it. Black pill is a totally different thing. The same with racism and race pill. Yeah, I heard a young lady employee at a Hot Topic call a guy Chad, and I cringed so hard, bro. This is toxic as fuck for young people. I'm sorry. Non-native speaker struggles. So, when I say Chad, what spelling do you imagine? What spelling do you hear? How do you pronounce CHUD then, if it's not Chad? Chod? 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 Chud? You did it right the first time. I say things, they flow out of my mouth. I don't remember what happened anymore. Yay. pronunciation
Okay.
lessons.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Chud.
Once again.
Chud.
Chud. This is the
Chud.
one with you.
Yes. The one with the U. Chud.
What's the difference between chud and chud?
Okay, you just said it right now. You said
What?
it. You made the differentiation. You said Chad, and you said Chud. You said it perfectly.
So, if you guys learned other people, you know that vowel systems are different. So for me,
I mean, if I knew how to write in Cyrillic on my PC keyboard right now, I would
you
probably
wouldn't be
try
able
and
to
type it.
write it.
Well, not on this keyboard, but on my cell phone I could.
No, this is not. These sounds are not different in Russian. In both ways, it would be transcribed the same, and we would register both sounds as the same. That's why I say, what's the difference? I don't understand. So, Chad and Chad, right?
Yes, you said it. You said it perfectly right now.
Thank you. So
Yes.
now I know in my head I will still not always be registering the difference because for me, as a non-native speaker, as a Slavic language native, they will still rarely be registered as different sounds. And I need an artificial effort to differentiate them. Anyway.
Alright.
Chad, Chud. Chud. Anyway. For the 5th time. I think it needed to go mainstream so that boys will no longer feel lost and know it's not their fault for being born ugly and unwanted. I just wish it wasn't Glove who was the messenger. So there is a plethora of problems here that all interact and give us the situation that becomes a problem. What I say when I say lookism and black pill are two different things is that when it's lookism, you understand that this is a problem that you need to recognize. This problem is affecting your life, but ideally, instead of submitting to this problem, to lookism, you recognize it that, oh, it's not good. We as society must try to unlearn it. Of course, the society can't unlearn it 100%, but we can unlearn it to the point where being ugly is not, a major disadvantage. Like, yeah, a little bit of disadvantage, okay. Just how for someone, they have, in general, they can't go full on lion, tiger when running, and someone is a naturally born athletic person. So we should let people be different, let people be perceived different. We should not make people feel less for reasons that Black Bill points out as very as obstacles to your happiness. Law that war should definitely never have gone mainstream. Yeah. So the thing is that what I was talking about. Yeah, so normal human reality. There is lookism. People are affected by their looks, their success in life is affected by their looks. It's not definitive. You don't become subhuman because you don't look great, even though it's true that other people may perceive you as that. But the one in the wrong is those who perceive you as worse for your looks. They are the problem, not you, not your looks. In Blackpill, people being treated worse, having worse odds due to not being up to beauty standards. First is definitive, so it's not just affecting the life of someone. This is putting an end to success, to happiness, to any prospects. This is the first one. The second one, the system, the hierarchy in which people who are ugly viewed worse than people who are good looking should not be, criticized. Instead, we should let ugly people be let people treat ugly people worse and let people treat beautiful people better without second guessing themselves, without questioning their own knee-jerk reactions. And instead, the resolution would be for people to quote-unquote ascend, so get out of this ugly tier to have better experiences in life. This is an anti-social perspective. Got kicked offline. You mean you lost connection? This is anti-social perspective in the sense that it supports the existence of a system when one side is viewed as subhuman and one side is viewed as, perfect, unfallible. On the other hand, it is also catastrophizing, like if you are not up to certain beauty standards. Can the rest of the people hear me? See? Okay, you need to tell Rami that it's a problem on his side then. Okay, so let's maybe wait for him. I want him to be present as we're talking about it. No one told him that you can hear him. You can hear me. Спят усталые игрушки, книжки спят, да-да-да-да-да. Одеяло и it's not over. This is not ending credits. This is music break. Can you hear me? Great. So what I was talking about, lookism and black pill. So we have the world in which a person can be perceived in a better or worse light based on their relation to beauty standards. When you look at this through the lookism lens, all these isms are viewed as something negative. So when we're talking about lookism, we understand that some people will be ugly and then some people will be beautiful, and to a certain degree we cannot fully control how we react to people and their looks. However, we can still control most of it. And for talking about lookism, the point is that you oppose treating people based on how they look to a degree to which you are in control of it. Like, let's say there are two people, a beautiful woman and an ugly woman, who are wearing the same dress. The ugly woman will wear it with, styled well, additional accessories, all cool, and the beautiful women will just wear the dress and that's all. This is a very simplistic example just to demonstrate. Don't take it seriously, I guess. So, for a beautiful woman to say that she is dressed great and to tell to the ugly woman who put effort that she is just bad would be being affected by their looks, by how beautiful or not beautiful they are. But you can recognize that, I let my judgment be affected. If I pull this out of my unconscious into my conscious, where I can control it, where I can see and analyze it, I can notice that actually the woman who is ugly is dressed way better and way more interesting, and the accessories match so well, and her choice of shoes is very interesting, and the beautiful woman is just there. So when I'm complimenting, yes, how effect, that's right. So when I'm commenting on how they are dressed, I should take this into account and give the compliments to the woman who is ugly in our scenario because she just did better. This is lookism. Or like when you don't feel the need to be polite to someone or friendly to someone because you think you don't feel this immediate affinity to them because they are not appealing to your sight, as opposed to someone who is beautiful and who is generally gets treated better. You should recognize it and think, how maybe I should be nice to everyone, no matter if I find them visually appealing or not. What the black pill says in this case. The black pill says that the system that is in place, thank you, I was coughing though, it's because, health problems. I rarely sneeze, and when I sneeze, you will recognize it. It's because it will sound like an earthquake just happened. Like you will hear it all the way in the USA. I promise you will know. You will hear the ground shake. Anyway, for the black pill, the problem is not that there is a system in place which we should be, which we should recognize and course correct our attitudes so we don't treat people with anything less than they deserved. Instead, we move the focus from the system, that puts people at a disadvantage, to the people who are disadvantaged. I need to take a sip. So, the black pill's solution to people treating someone worse because they're ugly is just become prettier, just become better looking, and if you can, well, sex to be you. I guess fuck you then. And, as a raging leftist, I don't think this is a system that should be in place, and I think we should be conscious of it. But using it as something that defines you and your value is wrong. Like, let's say, some people will always consider you ugly. When you think about your relationship with the system, on whether you support it being in place or don't, the question isn't on whether you want to put effort into doing something in this. Like, if you think that treating people worse based on how they look is bad, thinking it is enough. Like, your thoughts will affect your attitude, your behavior. So when you will see someone who's not as good looking, and you recognize that you may not be so nice, you will just be nicer. And if someone is mean to a bad looking person because they're bad, you might say, hey, maybe you shouldn't be that mean, that kind of sucks. And that is already good. This is your 5 cents. But if you think that, it's appropriate to treat someone as subhuman and to call someone as a subhuman because of how they look, then your solution is should have been born a better person, I guess. Should have been born prettier. Should have been born a child of billionaires. 90% of people think I'm ugly from my experience. The only person. I will not continue reading it. The sex, but at least there are people who consider you attractive. I also noticed that a lot of people do not understand how much difference can style make in appearance. Like something as little as a hairstyle change sometimes can make a person go from what people consider ugly to attractive. I mean, because I hang out on appearance advice subreddits, I can see it. Like yesterday, my throat hurts. I saw a girl posting on appearance advice. I look at her. I think it's because I saw an influencer like this. I'm subscribed to her Instagram. I immediately think like coquette aesthetics, like Princess Peach. This is the kind of look she would rock. And I scroll down to the comments. There is only one other comment, and the person says she's masculine, and I'm like, what? I'm not exaggerating, changing any facts. I saw her, I immediately thought Princess Peach. So, that, and also the angle at which people take photos makes a huge change, and people also don't recognize it. It's like some people don't recognize that, considering the settings, the dress was obviously black and blue. I should be wrapping this up. My throat hurts. Just hire a professional photographer, bro. Meanwhile, shirtless Chad in dirty bathroom mirror selfies. I saw Chads look like shit because they didn't. Fuck. Yeah, I should drink some tea. Just you don't even got to do all that. Does anyone want to read out loud, comments out loud instead of me?
Alright, so what comment do you want?
Let's get from this one. I'll make myself tea for now.
Okay. Well, which one are you reading? Fine, we'll start with Mr. Mac Davidson. Okay. Mr. Mac Davidson, 1745, says, I'm sorry, but the pick of Cillian Murphy and low tier confirms that they have no idea what they're doing anyway.
No, I meant your comments, guys.
Oh, my comments. I thought you wanted to ask somebody to read comments for you. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm at a loss, to be honest. Between telling you to go and drink some tea and Fairly Odd Parents. Okay. Alright, so, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna read comments anyway, just to fill some air time while she makes her tea. Alright, next up we have the Cynical Optimist, 1884. And they say, all I can say is, it must be hell being these people. There's something pitiable here. And someone so anhedonic that they can't find joy in anything. Meanwhile, Cricket 12-ish said...
Wait, I've read it already. I meant...
oh, okay.
I just read your comments out loud. In the case someone's...
Oh, okay, we could do that, Okay, so, let's see. Munition says, you don't even gotta do all that. Just be halfway decent at photography and you'll know right away. Okay. Rami said, girl, drink some tea. Solo. If everyone looks maxed and reaches a certain level, wouldn't that just make it harder to ascend levels alone? Like with LL surgery. If everyone gets it, we're just back to square one again. But at the moment, I predicted a lot of these things will cost money, and the rich looks maxers will prevail, i.e., late-stage capitalism with dating and South Korean cosmetic-style surgeries. This is why I associate economic inequality so much with Black Pill. Solo, I think you make very good points. I think that Jester would make better points, but I'm not Jester. Okay.
What would I do?
I don't know. I think you would make a very introspective comment there, an analysis of Solo's comment.
Thank you. Yes, I will. So back in, I think, around 2012, after Medvedev's presidency, there was a little, gathering with Medvedev and teachers, Russian teachers, who were talking about, how teachers get paid scraps. They get nothing. And Medvedev said, well, being a teacher is a calling. It's not, just to make money. If you wanted to make money, just be a businessman. What do you think is wrong with this? get good scrub. Well, the thing is, not everyone can be a businessman, right? And if people are not there for the money, it doesn't mean they shouldn't get livable wages. Because there will always be someone who is doing the less prestigious job. If you tell people that when you are not being paid enough, you should just find a better job, you essentially telling people that it's okay that some job does not get paid livable wage. The same is with this look system. 1 second. If there will always be someone at the bottom of any hierarchy, and hierarchies will be formed, all the different ones. Our goals are one, for different dimensions, the hierarchy would need to change. We shouldn't have someone who is good looking to be 1 second. God. We don't want someone who is good looking to be also educated, also rich, also healthy, also all kinds of stuff. And on the other side of the spectrum, so this is very dark. I know. This is a good joke and a dark one. It kind of makes a point. We should not be treating people at the bottom of hierarchy as subhumans, okay? Instead of affirming this, we should resist it. Okay, I think I should wrap it up. My throat is really not doing well. Will you be streaming this evening? Likely. If any of you want to buy me 5 Nights at Freddy's so that I can stream it, because it's not, as a resource consuming for the PC, and I always wanted to play it, I'm open to that. Someone's late. I'm here begging people to buy me 5 Nights at Freddy's. Yes, Steam is still in Russia. You can buy the game and for someone and then send them code, and they use that code and get the game. Okay, we've run out of talking points for my voice to go down for it. I will wrap up the stream and we can continue in the main chat. Good day, good night.